Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the Single Parent Advocate Podcast. I am Daryl Moody, joining you from Orlando, Florida, my home studios here in Orlando. Stacy is at the SPA studios there in Dallas, the good folks there at Venture X Louisville, the Realm at Castle Hills, that beautiful palatial studio there. Stacy, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Daryl. I've had a good weekend and a good day today. We're on the heels of North Texas Giving Day, everybody jumping in to give us donations. And so we're so excited because it's going to just help Thanksgiving and Christmas be better for so many more families. So I'm tickled pink.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk about vacations on this week's episode of the Single Parent Advocate Podcast. We'll get into that first, but let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Bring us up to date there with singleparentadvocate.org and the good work you guys are doing there. We've got a bunch of fall programs coming up. Bring us up to speed, Stacy, on what you're doing.
So right now we're basically in a preparation phase for when we go out and help families really for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We will come alongside some other area charities for a We Are One outreach at an area mall where we're going to give away food, turkeys, and home for the holidays kits. People are going to be able to come through and get COVID shots if they need or want them. And so we're super excited about that. Right now, as we speak, the families that have been nominated for this program are being sent an email so that they can register. And when they register, they're going to be registering for both Thanksgiving and Christmas so that these two outreaches are actually connected. And then we also have the group Matthew 6 Ministries jumping in the middle, trying to help us organize and I don't know, just get everything off the ground. So it's a big preparation time for us. Really, the month of October, we do everything we can to stage Thanksgiving and Christmas here locally in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then one of the things I'm super excited about is we're working on National Single Parent Day for March next year. We're going to have a fundraising gala as well as a golf tournament. So we may have to fly you in. You're going to be our special host and guest, right? And you're going to play some golf with our people here in Dallas.
I would love to do that.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully we'll bring a little bit of the Sunshine State into, Louisville, Texas. And that's home base for us, Louisville, Carrollton. And I'll make sure we keep everybody updated, but we're super excited to be planning that. And so we're going to love on our families, and then we're going to love on our donors and volunteers with a great big fun event for National Single Parent Day. And hopefully we'll be able to do something online nationally, where we can get our national audience involved in that too. There'll be maybe a silent auction.
Now I know you're focusing on the road ahead and fall programs and the holidays and stuff like that, but give us an update on the back to school stuff. I know you were getting some laptops out to families to help them get the supplies that they need to learn in the school year. Talk to us about that.
So Adova community, which is a home church community, helped us deliver out about half of the Chromebooks that were donated by Gateway Church Dallas here in the Metroplex. And we are working on getting the other half out to the rest of the families. I have 3 of those families who I'm going to be seeing this Thursday just to go and talk to them about, their single parent journey so that we can kind of spotlight a family, kind of like we did Beth earlier on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really cool. We're basically lifting the lives of these families, but not only the parents, the kids as well, as we kind of discussed. It's kind of our hope that we will not only, be single parent advocate, but really kind of advocate for the whole family. So we're getting these Chromebooks steadily out with over half of them in the hands of the families already.
And talk to me about the reaction of those families, the ones that you've been able to get the Chromebooks to. Obviously, that's an important piece of what's in the kids' backpack this year nowadays, just with all the technology that's available to kids. Share with me some of the reactions from folks.
Well, I took about 2 or 3 videos that I'll share with Eric to edit into this week's podcast from the families that I personally met with.
Hello, I'm Lindsay, and I have 3 girls, and this laptop is so awesome. And is just going to bless us tremendously. I'm so excited. I need to go back to college, and so this is going to help me do that, and then hopefully do some online working as well. This pandemic's been tough, so this is an amazing blessing, and I thank Gateway so much for this.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Jenkins. I want to thank Gateway Church for donating the Chromebook. It's going to be really appreciated in my house. The world took a big turn last year with the online learning. Most of the kids didn't have Chromebooks at home, and you can't really do all of the things that you need to do on your, personal cell phones, because they want you to be on the desktop. So this actually comes great at a great time, and it's going to be greatly appreciated and well needed. Thank you again, and you guys have a blessed day.
Each of the families were incredibly grateful, that all said, this isn't something that, that they in their budget anyway could go out and just go get a Chromebook or a computer, off the cuff like that. And so the major feedback was, oh my gosh, thank you so much. We even had one of our moms who has a disability, and she, of course, on a budget that she has to live on disability, she, wouldn't have been able to provide this for her kids. So, and then there was another mom that came through and she has 4 teenagers in school, and she was like grateful for one Chromebook, even though they all needed one. So, all of them, it was like oxygen, and it was really going to make their lives a lot easier. And their students, their children who are students fare better in school, So I'm super grateful on all fronts that they were willing to share their stories with us, right? And there's going to be more of that. So we'll be able to kind of let the faces of the families and the voices of each of these parents who are comfortable, speaking, kind of talk about that. And hopefully I'll be able to maybe get Eric to edit a few of those into our podcasts so people can actually see on our online audience kind of where we're headed with the show and what we're doing, feet on the street in people's lives.
Well, it's so good to see, when you give at singleparentadvocate.org, it's so good to see, the end result of that and see the impact that it has on the lives of single parent families and kids. And in one case, a mom who really need that stuff.
Oh yeah. And it was emotional for me. I was out there with the Adova Community Church and, Single Parent Advocate being such an organic organization, we don't get to meet very often. We've been virtual. We've been 100% volunteer driven. It's really a community of single parents helping single parents, right? And so a lot of the families have been with our organization and in our community for a while. Some of them are new, and just getting that touch point with everybody and being able to ask them, how's it going? Let's pause and talk about, how's it going in the rest of your life where it's not an event? We're just getting together, we're delivering service, and we're asking, how are you? How are your kids? I found out we lost one of our moms throughout COVID, which was really sad news.
Was it to COVID?
Yes. So that was hard to hear. But we did get a Chromebook into her daughter's hands, and her sister stepping in to help with things. So, it's just a time of really connecting and using, what God's given us to share and to lift, body, mind, and spirit, in practical ways and emotional and spiritual ways, if possible. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Glad to hear that those Chromebooks are getting into the hands of the people that need them. So let's dive into our subject matter this week, and that is taking vacations. And we touched on this last week and promised to get into it deeper this week. You and I both took vacations, within a week of each other. Although yours sounds way cooler than mine, but you actually went to Hawaii. Tell us about what you did out there with your son and his wife.
So Chris and Joy, those are their names, and they have a puppy named Kenai. They have gone to Hilo, Hawaii with their eyes set on going to university at the U of H. She wants to study to be a marine biologist. And Chris is, still musical theater. So it's kind of a match made in heaven. I'm like, oh my word, they could both work at SeaWorld, right? And so Chris and Joy both have full-time jobs now. She works for a veterinary clinic and he works for Petco. And it had turned out that my travel companion, one of my girlfriends, couldn't go. And I ended up going alone. And so we all shared their car, and I would take them to work, and then I would find little places to go throughout the day. There's gardens everywhere, and I love gardening. So I was in heaven, right? But then in the evenings, we would just, eat, watch a movie, hang out together because they had to go to work the next day. And then after, 2 or 3 days, we did take one great big field trip to the other side of the island. We swam with manatees and, just kind of had a trip to a coffee plantation, and it was all, kind of on their days off. So it was more about visiting them, having quality time with them, and seeing what I could. I did go to the volcano. Chris took me to the volcano for sunset one night. We drove up there, and it was so cold. Oh, wow. I couldn't believe the temperature change. You think about Hawaii being really warm.
Right.
It was freezing up there. And we went through a lava tube. That was wicked. Lava.
What's a lava tube?
A lava tube is where the volcano erupted, and there's a tube that's created by the hot lava going through the land. And
not an active volcano, right?
Yeah, it's active, but it wasn't erupting. I mean,
Okay.
So there was a lot of steam coming out of the ground. There, I'll give Eric a picture so we can show the folks.
Was that nerve-wracking being on? Because you don't know when a volcano is going to erupt. I would imagine that'd be a little bit nerve-wracking.
Well, they have all kinds of seismic, instruments, weather control. They really monitor, the mountain or the volcano. And so we didn't feel bad. And we ran into this cute couple from California. We all went down the lava tube together, and it was fun. We had a good time. It was cold though. Just know if you're going to go see the mountain in Hawaii, it's not going to be 85 degrees when you get up to that elevation. Even if you're going to a volcano, right? You think it's going to be hot up there. Now there were these steam parts where the steam would come out of the ground. And if you put your face there, yeah, you're going to, probably get burnt. You just have to be careful, but it was beautiful.
And I understand you got into an altercation with a lava rock.
Oh, it was horrible. I don't know if you can see this. Don't zoom in. But what happened was we had gone snorkeling. Our big field trip was to go snorkeling. And that's a story in and of itself. And so I'm putting on my flippers and I'm sitting on the rock, and the rock kind of had some, algae. So it's a little slippery, and of course the waves are coming in. So I've got one foot in the air, my hands up here, and the waves are coming in, and I did the electric slide into the water, but I wasn't ready. And so I went like this to stop my slide, and I punctured my finger. What was so weird, Daryl, was I didn't even feel it. I didn't feel it at all.
The adrenaline.
I get going into the water, swimming around, and I see these little trail of blood going everywhere. And I was like, oh, what is that? And it was my finger bleeding. So we snorkeled the reef, had a great time, got out on the beach, and lo and behold, I had a problem. It was like a puncture wound. And up walks a retired member of the armed forces who happened to have all the gear to take care of it. We had a Band-Aid, all the the things we needed. And he was a former member of the Coast Guard, and him and his wife were so wonderful. So they sealed it up, and we hung out for a little bit longer, and then, went to where we were staying. But it was, I felt kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm the problem. I'm kind of Debbie Downer today because I punctured my hand, but it was okay in the end.
Now, how was it, because like you said, your son and his wife continue to work, and, even though you're on vacation, their day-to-day life is continuing to move along the way it does. Did that present any challenges? Were you kind of begging them to go out and do stuff? And did you find them saying, hey, listen, we got to be up early in the morning, that kind of thing?
Well, because I had to replan the trip, because my friend couldn't come in the end. I just stayed in a real humble place for about a week that was about 15 minutes from their apartment, and we were sharing their car. So it was kind of a given that we were going to be attached to their work schedule. So, I went and got like $400 worth of groceries, and we were all excited about the groceries. We were picking out, what we all loved. And so one night we cooked dinner together, and it was really good. And Joy and I went to a local farmer's market and picked out the Hawaiian fruits and different things that she wanted to share with me. And we were giddy happy about it. We had special dessert together while Chris was at work, and,
just cooking together is fun anyway.
Yeah. And then the next day, I think they both went to work. And so I went and kept Kenai, the puppy, and found 2 places where he and I could go walking where pets were welcome. And so Kenai and I went adventuring, and he had never been on the beach before. Daryl.
A Hawaiian dog never been on the beach?
Not really in the water. He's a puppy, like 4 months old.
Okay.
A big puppy. And so he really needed me to, hold him back and control him, and so we went to a waterfall. If anybody wants to go to my Facebook page, you'll see me up in front of a waterfall. Kenai's not with me in that picture, but you can see, one, I think, in my photos, and, here we are at Rainbow Falls. And then we went from there to, a trail, and we could walk this trail, and, we went on this, it's like a scenic tour where you could pull over and look at different, stops along the way. And, by the time Kenai and I did that and everything, it was time to go get Chris and Joy and figure out what's to do for dinner. Are we going to cook? Are we going to order in, watch a movie? What was, one of the things that I always did with Chris growing up was we played Uno, and we would get in these Uno wars, right? And so I brought the game, but we never got around to it. We just ended up, taking care of the puppy, talking, catching up, talking about what our adventures were going to be and where we wanted to go. And so I would say, yeah, I had a little bit of FOMO, but what we did to take care of that, was we made a list. We did research. We made a list of all the places where we were not going to be able to go this time. We picked out 1 or 2 big places to go, which was the snorkeling. And then also we went to go swim with manatees. We took a tour to go swim with manatees. And then the rest of it was small stuff that I kind of did through the day while they worked. And then we had our quality time in the evenings. So you're right. It was a different experience than we thought, but then I got more time with them. I got to see what their life was like.
Friend with you, right? Sure.
Yeah. And that was really awesome, and I think it was the way it should have been. It worked out the way it should have been.
Awesome. Well, my vacation with my kids the following week was maybe more exciting, but shorter and in a much less exotic locale. So we had basically a 5-day Labor Day weekend from Thursday through Monday. And on Thursday night, we started off with a college football game. My alma mater, UCF, was hosting Boise State. So the girls and I had tickets, and then my girlfriend ended up bringing her 14-year-old son. So it was the 5 of us. And if you've ever been in Central Florida in the summertime, it rains every single day. And in this case, there were thunderstorms and lightning around the stadium. And what was supposed to be a 6:30 kickoff didn't end up being, we didn't even get into the stadium till 9:45.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I remember you talking about that.
And I think it was a 7 o'clock kickoff. I apologize. And anyway, it was a 2-hour and 45-minute rain delay. So we ended up just going to one of the on-campus bookstores there in the athletic village. And we hung out for a while, and it was good because, I mean, if it were just the girls and I don't know that we would have sat there that long waiting, but because we had, friends with us, we were able to kind of keep each other entertained and stuff. But once we did finally get into the stadium, by then it was, you sit wherever you want and that sort of thing. And we ended up making, because my girls are 6 and 8. So, they're probably not going to make it till 1:30 in the morning watching a football game. So we stuck around till the middle of the third quarter. And then we finally went home, because the next day I was taking them to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, with 2 theme parks here in Orlando. And I learned the hard way that my kids at 8 and 6 are probably a little too young for Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. There's more teenage themed rides and roller coasters and that sort of thing. So, we rode what we could, but there were some challenges, with that. And we learned some lessons about perseverance, at least, making it through from one theme park to the other day. I remember being upset at the time because we went to Islands of Adventure first, and then we took the train ride from Hogwarts, which is in the Harry Potter land. We took the train over to Universal Studios, which is the first theme park. And I didn't realize it, but it was actually the opening night for Halloween Horror Nights, which is a seasonal thing that they do, where they have haunted houses and they're themed about different horror movies and that sort of thing. So by the time we got over to Universal Studios, they closed that theme park at 5, so we had to go home. But by then we were all tired and fussy, and the rain was starting to move in, so it worked out well. So then on the following day, we woke up and we went down to Palm Beach County in South Florida and made a beach weekend of it. I rented an Airbnb in a condo complex not far from the beach, and that was a lot of fun because we were in a condo as opposed to a hotel room. So we were able to buy food and make our own dinners and that sort of thing. We did get a beach day in, but I should have known better. And if you've ever been in Palm Beach County, I mean, it's one of the wealthiest counties in the country. So, the Po folks only have a few places where they can get onto the beach, because a lot of it's, the beach is public property, but the access points are only at certain places. So we ended up going to the Lake Worth Beach. And that was where many, many years ago, there was a casino on the beach. So it's kind of like a big, municipal complex with what used to be the casino. Now it's some restaurants and shops and that sort of thing. And there's a pier there. So we went in the morning to go kind of scope things out. And of course, you go at 10 o'clock in the morning, park wherever you want. It's nice and easy. So, and I remember telling the kids, I was like, we need to go and get our stuff and come back, because this place is going to get busy as the day goes on. So we didn't end up making it back to the beach until about 1 in the afternoon. And by then it was packed. You could hardly find a place to park, at least not
wow.
anywhere near. So what we had to do is thankfully there was a little circle drive. So I unloaded, and when I go to the beach, like I set up camp, literally. I've got a big pop-up tent and there's plenty of chairs and coolers, and I bring radios. Because to me, if you're going to go to the beach, you got to be there all day. And if you're going to be there all day, you can't sit out in the sun. So
right.
you got to bring the gear. So that was kind of a challenge in and of itself, unloading the gear by myself, parking the car way on the other side of the big public parking lot, and then hoofing it back uphill to the beach with the kids. And I'm a beach aficionado because I'm a Florida native, and I'll take a beach with light sand over a beach with dark sand any day, because if you've ever walked across a beach with dark sand, it is really hot. So
I did that for the first time because they have black sand. It was a completely different experience. It was so cool to, and of course there's turtles in the water, but the water's cold. The black is hot, hotter than what I expected. And and then the whole experience about sand being black was new for me, so but it's all ground up lava rocks down there.
Right. So well, it felt like lava where we were. So, and my 6-year-old Claire, bless her heart, she just was struggling. I mean, she can't carry much anyway. So we had to carry stuff in stages, unload it here, go get some more, unload it here, get it down on the beach, leave it here, get to pick your spot out. And bless her heart, the poor thing, at one point, I'm struggling to put the tent up by myself. And she's just sitting in her chair screaming, saying, I never want to go to the beach again. This is terrible. And of course I'm like, hey kid, you're a native. You're going to be going to the beach your whole life. If you think this is bad, you're going to have worse experiences. But I turned it into a teachable moment for the kids, where I kind of said, hey, listen, it's a huge hassle getting the gear from out of the truck to being on the beach. But if you can work together and suffer through it together, within 15 minutes, you've got the tent set up, the kids are in the water playing, I'm sitting in my nice chair in the shade. And if you can get through that, that 15 or 20 minutes of misery, you've got all day ahead of you and you can have fun. It was so nice. There was a sandbar out far enough so there weren't big waves breaking toward the beach. So we were able to, spend a lot of time in the water, and it was, I wouldn't say it was calm, but I mean, you weren't struggling with the surf like I would imagine you are on the North Shore.
Right.
So that kind of became an opportunity for us to kind of learn together. But
but life's kind of like that, isn't it? I mean,
oh, for sure. As a single parent, we all know that. Absolutely. You've got moments of chaos, and then, every now and then it
working toward this, this bright goal. I mean, it happened to us too. We ended up going to the wrong snorkel spot, but when we got to the wrong snorkel spot, we had been driving so long, it was frustrating. Right. And we were irritated, but then we kind of took pictures there, and it was a historical place for Native Hawaiians. So, I would say utmost respect for that cove that we were at. But then we had to go down a long dirt road, and we weren't sure where we were. We had our navigation, and we're like, we are going to be getting in the water. We are using our new snorkel gear, because I had blessed.
Keep your eyes on the prize,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you guys, let's not be irritated. Let's breathe deep, They're like, Urgh. And so we get to the new spot, and the new spot is nice, where we could kind of put our stuff and everything. And we had the same thing. You had to unload the car. And I had gone to Walmart and gotten, just a couple of beach chairs, because they didn't have beach chairs. They didn't have a cooler. We didn't blow the bank out or anything. But, I just thought, groceries and a couple of beach chairs would be nice to leave my adult children with, when I leave. So we broke it all out, set up camp just like you're talking about. And then, I decided to go at war with that lava rock. But, life's messy. Vacations are messy.
Well, the irony of it, Stacey, is that I planned all these awesome events and things to do, but I mean, if I'm being honest, my kids enjoyed swimming in the pool at the condo complex more than anything. And we had a fantastic seafood dinner that Sunday night. And I feel like for them the highlight was swimming in the pool, and for me it was just going elbow deep into a big bowl of shrimp and crab. But it's you try to plan the vacation out, and you have all these great ideas of what you want to do. And I tell my kids every time we go to the beach, I tell them the same thing. I go, you know what, next time I'm just going to book a Holiday Inn on the interstate, because all you care about is the pool. And so it's just funny how, but you got to create those memories. I mean, I wouldn't, I'm not really going to stick my kids in a Holiday Inn at the interstate, but it was just funny how, the downtime was really what we enjoyed the most. Even though we had the football game and the trip to the theme park and the beach day and all that stuff, it was, it was the quieter times one-on-one that we really enjoyed the most.
Well, I think that's a great message, because you and I are pretty blessed. I mean, I never thought that my child would live in Hawaii. Like, to me, okay, that's a lot of pressure. That's a big airline ticket. But then, even over there's affordable ways. I mean, it was only $5 to check in to go see the waterfall. There was only like $10 or $15 to go see a different waterfall. To go see the botanical garden there, it was $20. So it wasn't like, I was having all of these, big expenses. Even the zoo, to go to the zoo was free, so the bulk of the money.
No big expensive luau, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was just to go up and see the volcano. We thought we were going to have to pay, but we didn't have to pay. We just walked right up, lava tubes, everything, just so it was more like a state park kind of environment, where all of the beauty was in the land. And I think there's a message in what you're saying. I mean, I know I kind of identify with it based on, I experienced it in my way for a different reason, but not everybody can go to Universal Studios. Not everybody can pay for airfare to go to Hawaii, and you feel this pressure to do it all while you're there, because you don't know if you're ever going to be able to go back, or can't recreate this year or this moment in time. And so we overschedule. I know I do. I overschedule. I would have gone and overscheduled us, but
well, and you have to do the stuff while you're on vacation. You have to, but it's just funny how, if you ask my kids, their favorite part was night swimming, and my favorite part was just having a nice meal out with my kids.
Yeah. Well, I think, maybe that applies to not just vacations. Maybe that applies to our work week. I know people who look at my schedule and they're like, oh my gosh, Stacey, what are you doing with your life? There's stuff all the time. If there's not a place to go, there's things to do, and there's very little downtime for me to hang out, but I'm carving that out, where I have time to, get myself taken care of, whether it's my nails, my hair, my body, to work out, talk with a friend, work on a crossword puzzle, believe it or not. Maybe I'm showing my age on that one, but something where we're connecting with ourselves, connecting with our family, and connecting with God.
I'm going to do that next week because I'm going fishing.
Okay.
So that's Daddy's trip. Is next week, or in 2 weeks, I'll be on a boat in Homosassa.
That I think, I know we talk about vacation. Of course, school's already started and everything, and we're kind of circling back to the topic, but I think it's not really about vacation. What we're talking about simplicity and enjoying the simple things. And
just getting away from, what is your normal life, and connecting with the kids. I mean,
and it doesn't require a big fancy trip somewhere far away. It can be, a camp out in the backyard if you have little ones, and it's, not a miserable temperature outside.
Well, when it gets cooler, I've got a fire pit in my backyard. We do movie night in the backyard, and I bring a TV out, and we set it up on the table, and we roast marshmallows, and we'll watch, a Disney movie or something.
Yeah. And even just, going to the movies, or, having a sleepover with your kids and their friends, and maybe simple time together is something that maybe we feel pressured to do the bigger stuff and to, be, like you were saying, like
The
a
Disneyland
Disneyland parent. Yeah. But maybe it's, card games and cooking dinners together. It's, having s'mores and, just hanging out. And, that's what we can do anyway. It doesn't break the bank. It's what we can get away with without really having a hard time. Now, I would never be able to do that with my children since I live here and they live there. But certainly, maybe if they come here, I need to remember that. I don't need to go take them to go see the ice exhibit and tour all the Christmas lights and, do everything when they come to town. Maybe when they come to town, it needs to be a lot more of the same, cooking together and just being a family.
Well, they don't at least for now, they don't have a choice about the football games, because I'm a football fan. And, to me, it's important to create those memories with the kids so that, in my mind, so that when they're in high school and they can choose whether or not to go to a football game with you, they'll want to go to a football game with you because, it's a way for them to connect to me and they'll remember their first UCF game. So,
I'm sure you're brainwashing them very well, Daryl.
That's the idea, Stacy. I call it Operation Indoctrination.
Well,
we can talk about that we can talk about that with another show, but yeah, I and it is kind of selfish, but I mean, some of my best memories as a kid were watching Atlanta Braves baseball games with my dad or watching the Gators play. So, that's what I want for my kids.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll grow up and be sports fans and they'll do the same thing with their kids.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, I think, those types of things, especially maybe it's nice that we revisited this kind of thing, kind of thinking of processing what we're talking about, because the holidays are coming up and we're all hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be able to have our families over to our homes and it's going to be, we're going to be safe. Everybody's going to, be well. And maybe
I already know what I'm doing for Thanksgiving. I don't get the kids this year for Thanksgiving, so I'm taking a cruise with my girlfriend.
Awesome.
I'm gonna go crash her family vacation.
Hopefully you won't end up stuck on a cruise ship for a month.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
It wasn't funny for those poor folks, I'm sure, but
hopefully we don't have a COVID. I mean, hopefully by then, the COVID stuff is under control. So I felt like going to a cruise in the fall was fairly safe, but we'll find out. I'll take my chances anyway.
I think that, just remembering not to overschedule, even if you're on a cruise ship, you can book too many dinners, you can book too many excursions, right? You can just overdo it and never get any R&R. I'm guilty of the same thing in life, on vacations, everywhere. I'm just, always feeling that pressure to deliver in my life and in others' lives. And I think this is a great message. I'm glad you brought it up. It's like, hey, wake up. Like, we should be excited about the simple times. We should be not feeling discontent whenever we are doing life with our families in simple ways. Even if you're in a fancy place like Universal Studios or Hawaii, the simple things are where the magic is.
For sure. Absolutely.
Good message.
Yep. Well, if you want to help Stacy and Single Parent Advocate with their various fall programs coming up, we got the holidays. There's a great need out there. Make sure and go to singleparentadvocate.org. Follow us on social media, the various channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Single Parent Advocate. Stacy, got anything else for us this week?
No, but I just want everybody to stay well, stay safe. Definitely, take care of each other out there, and we'll see you next time.
All right, folks.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.